Let's go with that. Let's start with that Tyler Perry piece of it. Yeah, great. And this is no shade to him. Yes, he has done some good, but in the grand scheme, and he ain't depicting black men. He ain't done too much of nothing for depicting black men in the positive light. Just be honest with you, it's always heavy handed towards the women. That's just how I see it. So I am not the biggest Tyler Perry fan. He's black man. Kudos to what he's doing, employing people, but his shows ain't really, progressively moved up a whole lot forward. It just ain't. Let's harken back to a time. Let's go back 2 shows that really, really, I believe that put us really depicted us the best and inspired young minds, planted positive seeds. Let's go back to the Cosby Show. You saw that healthy mother and father, even if you didn't have a mother before Bill and all this other stuff. When you're talking about that, Heathcliff Huxtable and Claire, the kid, that family, that the mom was a lawyer, the dad was a doctor. You saw the intact family, professional black people in a house raising kids, healthy, and that made you aspire. Even if you didn't have that, you said, "Shit, I want that." It gave you aspirational goals and things to aspire for. Now, the spinoff of that show was the progenitor for the different world. Do you know how many kids wanted to go to college? Me, Mac, don't even, man, wanted to go to college because they made that shit look so dope with Jasmine Guy, with Dwayne Wayne on there, with Jada, Pop did episode. You was like, I gotta go to college. If college lit like this, but if you know, and especially HBCUs, just if you look at
I
that,
went to HBCU, so
shout out to HBCU, shout out to Hampton
oh,
University.
you?
I didn't go there for academia, but I went to the party a lot with the girls. But I still love HU. I'm gonna make a big donation there one day. But anyway, that's either way here or there. Shout out to Hampton University. But the point I'm saying is, shows like that. It's no coincidence that they took those shows, they dissipated, because look at their greater influence. They influenced a generation to want to be better. You had aspiration. If your family was messed up every Thursday at 7 o'clock in Central Standard Time, that Cosby Show came on. I remember that because it meant that much to me. After that, you knew a different world was coming on. Right after that, it meant that much to me. We had those, and they took them away. The question is, what do you think is the deep meaning? Why, though? Just your opinion.
Once again, I think that it was systemic. I think that there were, like I said, a lot of different factors when you're talking about it from a financial standpoint, that time slot thing. But I also think it was systemic because you see 2-parent white homes, you see 2-parent Asian homes, you see 2-parent Hispanic homes. We had George Lopez had a whole show, right?
Sure
But
did.
remove that from the black community, and now it's always, oh, these people got problems. These people are about to lose their house. The mom on drugs, the this, that, and the tenth, and they have, once again, like I said earlier when we first started this conversation, they have glorified our trauma. They have profited off of our downfall.
Mm.
Our suffering is entertainment to them.
So it's always been.
And we watch it as black people, right? Because we relate to it, right? We don't watch it because sometimes it's the best TV or it's the best show. We watch it because we relate to it. We have a cousin named Pookie that did something like that. We had an uncle
Right.
that and an auntie that's going through that right now. And so we consume it because that's what our reality is, and that's, and obviously that's the nature of reality TV or whatever. But we consume it because we relate to it. But at what point is there to aspire to something else? And that's honestly why I loved watching Insecure. I am an Issa Rae stan. Shout out to my girl Issa Rae.
Okay.
And I love her to death. And I love her because what she did in the industry in these short amount of years that she's been in it has created opportunities for black people uplift on multiple levels. Not just the actors, because every actor that's been on her show is booked and busy to this day. Okay? Everybody that's done anything has a platform now, right? She made sure of that. But it's not even about just the actors. It's literally about the depiction of what it was. That the show Insecure could have been a whole bunch of ratchet, uneducated fools jumping around LA twerking for dollars, right? That's what it could have been. It wasn't that. It was educated people figuring out, traversing through life and figuring out who they are. Did they always make the right decisions? No, but we don't always make the right decisions. But doing it and becoming better, and you were able to, throughout the course of that series, see the growth of every character. I loved it. It was a great depiction of real things that we go through, but there was an ultimate underlying meaning. We are all insecure in some way, right. And it's our job as people to find our security in ourselves by finding ourselves, and that's what that show was about. It's about all the characters finding themselves and becoming comfortable with that. But I love her for that. Just like same thing with Atlanta. Atlanta was this Donald Glover. First of all, I was on the set of Atlanta. I have done that show as a background. And Donald Glover came out and he looked at me and I was like, "Don't look at me! Greatness is." I was so starstruck. I don't hardly ever get starstruck when I'm on set, but I was 100% starstruck when Donald Glover was around. I think he is brilliant, right? But just how that show was set up in his head, the imagination of his head, we don't have that. And so all that to say, there are so many reasons why that depiction was taken off, and mainly I think it was to keep us down. The same way why stop and frisk was a law. Same reason why No Child Left Behind was put into place. They said it was for the betterment, but what ended up happening, they took them funds from them schools that needed it. Okay. The same reason why there was a crime bill, a war on drugs. Okay, same reason why there's still people in jail right now serving time for weed when weed has been delegalized in most places, because there's always a plot and a scheme to keep us down. And so that's why I think that the positive depictions of Black people were pulled off and negative was uplifted and elevated. And I think that, like I said earlier, it's up for the Black media outlets to stop uplifting foolishness and start being intentional about giving opportunities to people to show the multifacetedness of Black Americans. And I say Black Americans because I think there's definitely a difference between, Afro Latinas and what they think about. They think about Black Americans, between Africans and what they think about Black Americans, against, even people in the Caribbean and what they think about Americans. They have so many depictions of us, or thoughts about us being lazy and trifling and scheming and scamming and everything else, because that's what they've been freaking consuming in the media, man. So yeah, it really affects us, I think, globally. And it's so crazy. It affects us globally. Like when you go to certain countries, you don't get treated as well because you're Black. So it's done on purpose. Is my whole point. I know that was a lot of words, but it's done on purpose. And I think that's why we have to combat it. And that's why I said earlier, I don't consume the foolishness. I don't watch the Love and Hip Hop. I don't watch none of that, because that's not my experience. My lived experience isn't going to a bar, seeing somebody I don't like, slapping them across the table and throwing a drink at them. That's not my lived experience.
Tami, that was brilliant. But to add to that, all of that is, but Black people, we enable the exploitation of other Black people. We enable it. We support it. Don't nobody support and exploit Black people more than us, and don't nobody degrade us more than us. We here we are. In my humble opinion, we have the number one export in America, and that's our culture. We have the number one export, and we just allow them to control it. Dictate what they want to show, what they don't want to show, and the part that they always want to illustrate and show is always the ignorant, the buffoonery. But we got Black people in place that's supposed to be, positions of power.
We don't have gatekeepers.